is how I went through the ranks when research was greatly promoted a few years ago. So we actually also outline a career path, not just for doctors. I also want to emphasize that we'd like to encourage staff, non-doctors, from pursuing careers in research so they can aspire to become vice chancellors of research, even if they're not a doctor. And of course, we need to connect researchers and faculty to funding agencies. And my last bullet, which I just thought about this morning, the power of travel. We may not be paid much, or we don't get too much money in research, but the thrill of traveling abroad, traveling to different parts of the country which you never got to, is a powerful incentive to stay. Many of our staff have never ridden a plane. So in some of the projects, they've gone to different parts of the world. It is a powerful incentive. So this is just the part in our manual that talks about protected time. We even calculate the amount of time that incentive is staff can do. We allow them to do sideline researches. So even if you're within the research center, you can be given clinical trials, TB trials, and we have a calculation based on their salary. So that we actually protect their time also. So we find that as a way of developing. I was one of the earliest trained GCP researchers in the early 1990s, as old as our research center. And I rose quickly from the ranks from assistant professor 4 to now full professor 15, and there's no rank higher than that. Each rank has an equivalent salary. So as I rose in rank, I also have an incentive to do research because they pay me more. And of course, it's very rewarding to be top and leapfrog, but it's something that I guess you can share too. So even if we call the organic staff is embedded in the research, we can also ask them to do further training abroad. Okay, for example, one of my staff is very good in finance. It's about to go to the Washington to be trained in finance management because under the US NIH grants program. This flexibility is part of the non-incentive. And by allowing staff to be involved in multiple projects, as much as 3, but it should be allowed by the supervisor. I heard people speaking about controlling the PIs. I think I see Lulu Santiago in the audience. Very hard to do that, but we recommended that there should be an amount of limit to the PIs. So, saan ka nakakita ng PI? Doing 18 studies all at the same time. How can that be physically possible? But it's about time we also try to put something. Talent retention strategy. Leading by example. Try to show them there is a promising career path. And I guess, as I said, give them projects that has also some financial incentives. The policies should encourage a talent pool in development. Caltech had these words. Get the best people and leave them alone. Give them a great environment and leave them alone. Okay? And then, of course, without commercializing, we have a proposal to do that. We have challenges and threats. When we created this building, I only wanted more room for our research committee. But the late great brother, Rafael Donato, who was educated in Harvard and Columbia University, told me, Charles, why not a building? But sir, we don't do enough research. No, build it and they will come. And he is long died, but his dream is actually, puro laway lang noon, but now we're doing a lot of studies. There's a lot of resistance and jealousy, especially from other faculty who are less productive. But many do not realize, and may I remind the people in the audience, you are a university because you are a producer of new knowledge. You cannot claim to be a university if you don't. In one of our governing councils, it was shared that only 20% of our university. This is something we should correct. Let me almost end, by saying some words I originally thought was from Robert Kennedy, but it's actually from George Bernard Shaw. Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream of things that never were and say why not. Siguro, if you always say, hindi pwede magawa yan, I don't tell this to my only son, it will never happen. If your attitude is, hindi magagawa, talo ka na. So, I dream of the day our old building will convert to this building called the Inocente, the Innovative Center for TB Elimination. And ako, ito na naman tayo. I'd like to share finally some of the things that we're doing. Tigil ko ba ito? This is actually to show you the things that we're working on the video doc. Ayaw talaga. Anyway, it uses a app so that you don't have patients going to our TB center every day. So it's not even virtual time. It has a time, so a nurse can actually go to the program and see if you actually swallow the medicine. I have can I some help please?
Drag mo na lang, sir.
I was going to share with you some of our future thinking projects. One is using a drone, and this video is actually showing a drone covering a desert, going to a place. So if you want to use a drone for the delivery of drugs in war conflict areas, highly mountainous terrain, maybe you can utilize that. The one on the left is actually a program we do for clinics at Dr. Frias here. It's a simple box, but it doesn't need a Wi-Fi. It sends a signal, so every time the box is open, the patient is being checked for taking his medicine. Okay, so this is the Phoenix project. Imagine that box in the drone, and then the delivery system is done. Yan na. Huwag na natin video. So that is where I would like to end my career. I'm now 61 years old. I'd like to establish a haven for the best and practice so that we can find it in TB. And I would call that dream project the Inocente, Innovative Center for TB Elimination. I've invited Raul Destura to help us with the biotech. Professor Noel Bugtay, who's into the robotics of the La Salle and hopefully. And that last, if you're curious, those are sample babies for my relaxation, is the handheld X-ray that is used by dentists. But I would like to say that in a recent journal of Nature, it was actually used in Haiyan, that the Japanese used a portable X-ray system to screen patients, and eventually they even saw it. Imagine a handheld X-ray in the punduks, throwing the video of an image, and because we have to look for the difficult thinking cases, we're not seeking help, and that's maybe one of the things that we dream about. So I have shared personal experience, rewards to institutionalize the idea of protected time and incentive and financial incentives, recognition awards, and trying to retain talent, and the challenges and threats ahead. May I end by saying I echo the words of repeated speakers here. If you want to create an enabling environment for research, and you want us to multiply the graying and balding researchers like me, then we have to attract a new generation of young people with incentives. They won't go here for money. They will come to us if they know they will make a difference in the lives of our people, and yet not be impoverished. That's what we need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Charles, for sharing your experiences on how are we going to increase productivity in research through incentives. So we'll be having our last speaker before we're going to proceed with the open forum. So our last speaker will be presenting his topic on tools for best practices for scientific sustainability in a research institution. So our speaker in June 2017 was recognized as an outstanding young scientist for medical sciences by the National Academy of Science and Technology for his substantial contribution in schistosomiasis research and vaccine development. Dr. Hills is one of the 8 Filipinos who was named as one of the AS100. The AS100 is dubbed as the Asian Scientist Magazine founder and editor-in-chief, Dr. Juliana Chan, as a showcase of the best of what Asia has to offer in the scientific community at large. The Asian Scientist Magazine is an award-winning science and technology magazine based in Singapore that showcases research and development news and stories from Asia. Through the Asia 100 listing, the Asian Scientist magazine aims to highlight and advance the scientific efforts being done in Asia, ultimately to motivate young scientists to strive for excellence. He is also a recipient of the Newton Agham program of the British Council with his research project Cellular Immunity and Resistance to Schistosomiasis in the Philippines. Let us all welcome our last speaker, Dr. We have Dr. Hees. We have Dr. Mariano Antonio Hees II.
Thank you very much po for the kind introduction. And good morning everyone. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. In behalf of our director, Dr. Socorro Lupisan and Dr. Evin Aliki, it is my pleasure to share with you the experiences of our research institution, the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, when it comes to best practices for scientific sustainability in a research institution. Okay, so for people who are not very much familiar with RITM, let me give you a few slides of introduction. So we were established in 1981, so we are 37 years young, and we are based in Alabang, in Muntinlupa City. So it used to be that the area in Alabang was all government property. It was sold back in the 90s. So Fininvest, kaya katabi po namin ngayon ay Festival Mall. Pero actually, the neighbor right now that we have is Far Eastern University, Alabang, who is building up their huge building really adjacent to our ITM. So we are an attached agency of the Department of Health. So we report to the Secretary of Health. And our primary mandate since 1981 is to conduct globally competitive research on infectious and tropical diseases. But in addition to conducting research, we also have our mandates on training, as well as for clinical care, because we have a hospital attached to the research institution, as well as reference lab services and biologicals production. And the key thematic area for us is really infectious diseases of public health importance to the Philippines, because we are of service to the nation, to the Republic. Okay, so back in 1981, we were established through an executive order, and by that time, an executive order is basically a law, kasi wala naman yata ang Congress during that time. So we were established with 4 major functions. One is, of course, public health research. And one of our major mandates is to conduct clinical trials. So we do a lot of clinical trials at RITM, especially on vaccine development as well as drug development. And of course, we do tertiary healthcare because of our hospital and the training courses that we have at RITM. Okay, so this is the facility. So our campus is on top of a hill. RITM, we always joke around, aakyat ka ba kung pupunta ka ng RITM or bababa ka kung pupunta ka ng festival mo. So ganun lang yung dynamics ng mga tao dyan. We have a very nice training building, training center for molecular diagnostics as well as your basic microscopy. And we also have a 200-seater conference room, auditorium for our postgrad courses as well as our larger conferences and symposia. Okay, so the major responsibilities of RITM is, of course, to conduct research. And as we have evolved over time, RITM is also very dynamic and adaptive to the needs of the country. So in 2000, we were assigned as National Reference Laboratory for many infectious diseases. So if there are referral systems in your own regions or your provinces, we usually send them to our IT confirmatory testing because we are the national reference. And we were also designated as a referral hospital for emerging and re-emerging infections in 2003. That's why all these re-emerging infectious diseases cases would go to our hospital. Back in 1998, Biologicals Production Service of the DOH was merged to RITM. So they are now a division, the Biologicals Production Division of RITM. And they also do the storage and distribution of EPI vaccines because we have a very large cold storage facility at RITM. And just about 4 years ago, we were designated as a WHO TBR regional center for good research practices, which I will discuss in the next couple of slides. Okay, so I think for most of you, you know RITM because of what you hear in the news, and that is outbreak response. And this is pretty much the list of outbreaks that we have responded at RITM. And really, the start of it all was Ebola Reston back in 1989. I think Dr. Betsy Miranda is around here. So she was then the department head of the Veterinary Research Department. And in fact, Ebola Reston originated in the Philippines. So I think the novel Hot Zone is based on Ebola Reston, and it tells the story of how Ebola was discovered in monkeys that were imported from the Philippines to Reston, Virginia for a medical research facility. And they found that the monkeys started dying because of hemorrhagic fever. And so after Ebola Reston, of course, remember the anthrax threat in 2001? So, disclosure, I was already at RITM back in 2001. So I was one of those who responded to the anthrax threat. And then, of course, the SARS outbreak, the huge SARS outbreak in 2003, where RITM was basically crippled because of the thousands of samples that had to be tested. But over time, we have managed to design processes to improve efficiency in our outbreak response. So we have responded to a lot of newer outbreaks, most prominently the MERS-CoV outbreak in 2015. Remember that OFW on a plane who tested positive and who arrived at NAIA, and DOH people and RITM people were chasing him in a van because he was going home to the province and he didn't know that he was positive for MERS-CoV. And we have to contact trace every single passenger in that plane and had to test everyone and thankfully all of the passengers were negative for MERS-CoV, so we did not have an outbreak, a local outbreak here in the Philippines. So in terms of the laboratory capacities of RITM, these are our departments that conduct research. We have, of course, microbiology and virology, parasitology, immunology, and molecular biology. Now we also have pathology, animal laboratory for the veterinary research. We have the antimicrobial resistance for the reference laboratory, as well as the tuberculosis reference laboratory at RITM. For our medical research, the clinical research division, we have the medical department composed of about 40 to 50 MDs. And we have a 50-bed capacity hospital, tertiary hospital, specifically for infectious diseases. So please don't come to RITM if you have, non-infectious concerns like diabetes or heart disease or something. Out of those 50-bed tertiary hospital, we have 8 negative pressure rooms, 2 of which are ICU rooms for the highly contagious cases. And we also have a rabies confinement room. And of course, we have a hospital support as well as epi and biostats and the like. Okay, so in terms of conducting research at RITM, we found out that it's much better if we could collaborate internally because you have a laboratory side who conducts more like biomedical research, and you have the clinical research, the doctors who do their own clinical work. So the idea back then was to create study groups so you can mix both the clinicians and the laboratory people together so you have a more efficient and more productive work. And that's the structure, basically, of the RITM study groups right now. The first 3 groups were the ARI, the Acute Respiratory Infection Study Group, and then the Diarrhea Study Group, as well as the Schistosomiasis Study Group. And then eventually on, in the next couple of years and decades, we added dengue, HIV/AIDS, TB, malaria, leprosy, filovirus, rabies, hepatitis, and other study groups. So these are now the powerhouse or the workforce of RITM to conduct research. Okay. In support of our research, we have a FERCAP recognized and PrEP accredited institutional review board, which will get reviewed later in the program. We have 11 members with 5 MDs and 2 PhDs and 4 lay members. And we have an institutional research policy that is basically a guideline on how to conduct research within RITM. So it shares there even small issues of publication, authorship, as well as material transfers agreement are incorporated in our research policy. I handle the Research and Innovation Office, which is very young. It's only 2 years old, and they only have 2 staff for now. But our main function is really to strengthen the research capacity of RITM investigators, as well as the knowledge management of research outputs. So the key achievements that we have so far is the translation of research output into policies, publications, rapid lab response to outbreaks, clinical expertise, as well as I've established and expanded formal linkages with local and international institutions. So I hope you have a good background now of what we are doing. And let me share with you now what are the major challenges that we see as an institution. Oh, sorry, before I do that, ongoing research projects, we have 89, 63 of which are investigator-initiated, meaning the investigator, him or herself, advanced the proposal and found support, found funding for that, and are implementing this research. And out of these 63, 33 are basic biomedical research, 28 are operations, and the last 2 are clinical trials. And we have 26 sponsor-initiated, meaning those that, they have been well planned and well prepared, and they're in need of implementers for the grant. So out of the 26 sponsor-initiated, 15 are industry-sponsored. Okay, so let me go to the challenges. Surprisingly, even though we are called the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, as of the moment, or historically, we do not have institutional research funding. Meaning we don't have a line item budget that says, this is money for research. The line item budget that we have is basically for personnel and supplies and hospital expenses. So it's really a challenge for us to conduct research because we don't have a line item budget for research, and we are hoping that that will change very soon, hopefully. And so because of that, we are highly dependent on competitive funding process as well as the commission grants, both public and private. And in addition to the lack of research funding, we also have, of course, the challenges in human resource rate drain, because we have very good RAs who end up getting their masters and PhDs and leave the country. Or we even have MDs who went to fellowships and then never came back again. So it's a challenge for us. And we also have challenges in equipment, facilities, laboratory space, as well as the competency of the people that we have within the institute. So I'm sure a lot of us can relate to these different challenges. And let me share with you at least what we have done at RITM to overcome these types of challenges. Okay. Okay, so just for capacity, for research funding, we recognize that our human resource is really our greatest asset, because they are the ones who will provide ideas for proposals that can eventually get funded and provide us research funding. So we need to provide capacity building for investigator-initiated research, as basic as journal access. We did not have journal access at RITM as late as 3 years ago. So we have to lobby for that. Although it's not the most comprehensive journal access, at least we have a wide breadth of journals that we can have access to. And of course, training our people for grant proposal and protocol writing under the WHO TDR RTC. And we have a bi-monthly email newsletter from the Research and Innovation Office, because we collate and disseminate all funding opportunities both locally and abroad. And we disseminate that to all investigators at RITM just by email. So, it's one of those trash emails, so to speak, that you get every 2 weeks or so. But at least if you're interested in submitting a research proposal, these are the opportunities that you can avail of. Of course, we have local funding from the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development. And this has always been very helpful, especially now with the great collaboration that we have in PCHRD. But looking at the history of RITM, especially in the past 20 years, it's really our strength in collaboration that has survived us and sustained us as a research institution. Because if we are very productive with our international collaborations, they can help us find other funding sources so that we can collaborate on it. And the beauty of tropical medicine research is that it's only here in the Philippines or in the tropics. So if you have collaborators that are based in the US or in the UK or in Australia, they need to have a local collaborator for them to do the research. And that's what we have tapped on. So as I've shown earlier, the list of funding agencies that we have, primary of which is also the number one funding of biomedical research in the world, the US National Institutes of Health. I think we have about 4 different researches now at RITM funded by the US NIH. We also have research funded by the CDC, JICA, the MRC of UK, the Australian NHMRC, USAID and AusAid, WHO TER. They also give out smaller grants that you can use for your research. Of course, the Melinda Gates Foundation, AMFAR, and the Global Fund for TB, malaria, and HIV, as well as the other bilateral research funding agencies that coordinate with the Department of Health. Okay, in terms of clinical trials, the industry sponsors that we have in the ongoing projects that we have right now include GSK, Takeda, Sanofi, Pasteur, Pfizer, and LG Chemistry. But we also do clinical trials for nonprofit organizations such as IVI and PATH. So our clinical trial experience is very broad, not just specifically for industry sponsors, but also for nonprofit organizations. Okay, let's go back. Next slide, if you can help me out. Okay, so we also, even though we don't have internal research funding, since we have what we call institutional fee collected from all the research projects, we have some sort of a money that we can give out to our young investigators and young researchers if they want to try out. So last year we gave out 6 small research grants, and this year we gave out 5 out of the 10 submissions. And these are just 300,000 peso grants for 1 year, just to start out, their research careers, enough for personnel and supplies. We highly encourage our young investigators to go into the research path because they will be the next generation of researchers for our institution. We have a lot of primary and investigators who are retiring in the next 5 or 10 years, so we would need to replace them in the next couple of years. We are also lobbying, finally, for institutional research support of the Department of Health, because lately we've been coordinating with the Health Policy Development and Planning Bureau, and they have a research division who has somehow committed to us that they're going to provide some institutional research funding for our ITM. And this is great for us because if universities talk about academic freedom, we also want to have our research freedom. We want to conduct the research that we want to do because, with the exposure that our investigators have, we kind of have an idea what types of researchers are needed in order to control and prevent infectious and tropical diseases. So we are very grateful to DOH. Hopefully, they're going to provide us this institutional research support. Okay, I'm going to talk about a very controversial topic that we've been discussing for the past, especially the past year, and it's about incentivizing our researchers. And I know for a fact that for government institutions, it's very challenging because we have a 25% cap that the DBM has imposed to us. But our outlook or our opinion at RITM is that we need to incentivize our researchers more. Because especially in our case, we are collaborating with international institutions. We see that our local researchers are doing so much of the work, yet our international counterparts are gaining much, much more than what we're doing. So it seems like we're talking about health equity. There's also research equity, we should recognize our researchers for the work or the hard work that they're done. Most of our research work is done in the boondocks, traveling not just by plane, but even by walking for hours just to reach those populations that have infections. So we have to recognize them and we have to give them incentives. So we've discussed this with DBM, and they actually showed us a document that says, we have a tripartite agreement with the Department of Finance as well as with COA back in 1997 that says for international programs and projects, it's okay to stick to your line item budget or your approved budget for international cooperation. So, it's ongoing that we are discussing with COA because, we have been mentioned here several times. But we hope that we will get resolved soon because we really need to incentivize our researchers. We know for a fact that, what we're getting right now is not enough. And we've heard rumors that there's a bill right now to amend our Magna Carta for scientists and, providing better incentives for our scientists. So we are really hoping that pushes through because with that we can retain our researchers and not, seeing them, bid the country and go to another place to conduct their research. Okay. Can you just go back? Okay. For those people who are decided to stay, we also have the scientific career system. Scientist 1, Scientist 2, Scientist 3. And we are the first adapters for the Department of Health. We have 2 scientists right now at RITM. That is really an incentive for them to continue their research. And we may not have the 50,000 or the 100,000 peso per publication that universities provide. The best that we can do based on COA rules is a 5,000 Praise Committee Award. But nonetheless, it's the recognition. During the Christmas party or during the RITM anniversary in April, we give recognition to our productive scientists who have published in international peer-reviewed journals. Next, please. Okay, when it comes to capacitating our human resource, as I mentioned earlier, we have a regional training center for good research practices supported by WHO TDR. And this RTC was able to create modules and training programs for manuscript writing, policy brief workshops, GCP and ethics, project management and implementation. And we are using this to train our investigators on these particular aspects because it's not easy to write a paper, especially if you are busy with administering and doing other research work. Next slide, please. We also try to induce a research nurturing environment by conducting brown bag lectures for them to disseminate their work or for them to choose a paper that they want to discuss. We have, for our visiting scientists, we schedule them for research symposia so that they can share their expertise to our investigators. We have an annual research conference held every December, and we support local travel. For now, we are only allowed to support local travel for our investigators when their abstracts are submitted. So they can ask, they can give an email, they can send us an email, and then we can provide them for their travel expenses. One innovation that our HR department has done is we provide dedicated time for writing. So if we are provided office orders, in government you're provided office orders, say to travel or to do field work, we have a special office order to write. So you have, for example, 5 days just to write your proposal or 5 days to write your manuscript. But at the end of that period, you have to submit your output and it has to be reviewed because if your output is not sufficient enough, then we will have to minus that on your leave credits. that's the takeaway. You have to be productive. When you say you need 5 days to write this proposal, you have to give us an output after 5 days. So that's one mechanism to increase productivity, but at the same time challenge them because it's not just a trip to the mall or a trip to a vacation place. And once they have their manuscripts and they want to publish, and publication fees can go very, very high. It can go up to $600 per page if you have a colored image. And so we try as much as possible to provide also the funding for publication fees. And we get it from the Rio budget. Next slide. So, sorry, let me go back. Sorry. Go back. So the next slide was about to say that within RITM, we have sort of core facilities to help out our investigators so that if they are, for example, a clinician and they don't have any molecular biology experience, they can go to our molecular biology core facility and the people there can help them design their PCR experiments or help them do their sequencing or help them do whatever. More importantly, we have an epidemiology and biostatistics department which helps investigators in the planning, in the proposal development, in the protocol development, especially the study design, data management, sample size calculation, very critical, as well as statistical analysis. So they can approach the DEBS, the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics for that. My department, which is immunology, also is a core facility for those who are interested in serology, as well as monoclonal antibody production, diagnostic development, and we now have a multi-top, so we can do peptide mass fingerprinting as well. And we also have a core facility for electron microscopy and histopathology in the pathology department. So other people can maximize these core resources within the institute. Okay. Can we just help with the next slide? Okay, so in terms of moving forward, RITM has decided to create our own research agenda. So the RITM research agenda started off in last year, and we have monitored it this year for progress and for what needs to be done still to improve our research efficiencies. And from that research agenda, we were able to define 64 research topics, and these were aligned with NURA as well as the DOH research agenda. And we are in close coordination with our DOH program managers. So we know also what they want to do or the research gaps that they want to be fulfilled so we can implement that in our research agenda. And as what Dr. De La Paz has mentioned, we also put this in our IPCRs. Literally, how many IRB approved research projects do you target by December? And at the end of the year, you get scored. Is it a 0? Is it a 1? Is it a 3? Is it a 5? So it's targeted in our QMS, in our quality management system, so that we get to keep focus. And it is a semi-annual review. And it's always challenging for us because you don't know how many projects you're gonna do. 6 months can be a very long term. So you're planning to do 4 publications this term, but you ended up only writing 2. So you kind of, give yourself more push in the next semester so you can achieve your other targets. Okay. So in terms of future-proofing our ITM and its research activities, we still continuously lobby for support. And we're grateful to the DOH because they've given us some support from HFEP. So we are acquiring new technologies. We just acquired an NGS and the Maldito. And we're acquiring new technologies to enhance our research capability. And of course, we want to expand our research services. We actually have plans for a national reference lab building. We're just looking for land to put it up because we are still in a struggle with Philippines, who now owns the property at RITM. We're still missing a few thousand square meters of our original property. We're still negotiating with them for that. So hopefully we can, there's already a master plan for that building, but we're hoping that that gets groundbreaking. If not this year, then hopefully by next year. So my last slide, which is, to summarize, even though it's always a big challenge for us to get funding for research, there are opportunities. And it is an amazing time right now in the country, especially with PCHRD, providing us with so much resources to conduct research. All we need are the bright quality ideas that are relevant and timely for the Filipinos. And as I mentioned, we've been, sustaining our research through our strength in international collaborations. And our human resource is really our greatest asset, so we need to provide them additional capacities and capabilities. And it's a shared responsibility for every one of us to establish a nurturing and productive environment for researchers. So thank you very much po. Maraming salamat. Maayong aga sa ating panahon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hiz. So we're going to have now our open forum. So we are requesting our experts to please join us here in our Tugtongan area. We know that a lot of us, they are interested to ask questions related to the topics discussed. I know for a fact that you are interested to know more about productivity. Okay, so you would want to ask more about incentives in government institutions, higher educational institutions, research institutions, and so on and so forth. So we've been hearing the word nurturing research environment. And we're encouraging also some of our institutions to raise their questions while our experts are here with us. So you're given actually around at least 20 minutes to ask your questions. Kindly introduce yourselves, your institutions, before you're going to give your questions. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Dr. Marilyn B. Martinez, Department Manager of the Cagayan Valley Herbal Processing Plant of the Philippine Institute of Traditional Alternative Healthcare or PITA. This question is addressed to Dr. Ins, Dr. Mario. Doc, one of your institutional resources is yung epidemiology and biostatistics. I'm also a part-time professor on epidemiology and biostatistics at Cagayan State University, College of Medicine. Doc, paano ang epidemic and biostats as one of the institutional resources of RITM? Meron kayong office that train or can advise future researchers with regards to epidemic and biostat.
Yes, ma'am. So it's basically a department, so it's an office within RITF. So it's a core facility because anybody who is from RITF can approach that department and then they can say, okay, I want to do this proposal and you need some help with the appropriate study design. And that department will assign a epidemiologist or biostatistician to talk one-on-one with that investigator. So there is really guidance and mentoring during the entire, even as early as the proposal development process. So I think we have about five epidemiologists and biostatisticians in the department that can help out. And we also have a lot of people who are very knowledgeable in the social sciences, research, such as KAPs and other data generating tools development, and even pilot testing these questionnaires, and pilot testing all these different tools, so we can help out with that.
Oo. Pero RITM employees lang ang pwedeng
Yes,
mag-avail.
ma'am. Yes po. Well, UP Manila has a great devs department.
DOH and attached agents of voice independent.
Well, the rule for RITM is that as long as one of the investigators, either the principal investigator or a co-investigator is an RITM, employee, and then they can tap the services of the institute. So if you can collaborate with one investigator from RITM, and then you can tap on that.
As collaborator, pwede.
Yes po.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, po.
I think one of the challenges, I think the IRDs have become major achievement as it gathers. But the next challenge is really the need for biostatistical and epidemiological advice. Now I'm speaking as a clinical epi who also trained in UP. So in our area, in Lasal, our biostat also provides advice to the region, to the regional health consortium, because there is a great need for advice, but we are also overwhelmed. We only have two biostat, three. And there's so much, we're a victim of our own success. Sa dami ng studies that are requiring statistical analysis or advice, there is a great need to increase the number of capable biostatisticians, and many of the good ones are left us already for doing their practice or abroad. So I think that's a role that can be played by research institutions like ours. Now, I know RITM is busy enough as it is. Lasal is busy enough as it is because our students alone are in the thousands. So I guess that's one challenge for all of us, and maybe PCHRD, Gigi, that we can improve the biostat capacity.
I think you heard yesterday our chancellor, Dr. Carlosita Padilla, when she gave her opening remarks. She talked about partnership, and she was offering the institutes of the National Institutes of Health. And one institute there is the Institute of Clinical Epidemiology. So I think, Sir Ma'am, we can talk later. I can give you access to the people you can collaborate with.
Okay. Do we have any other question? I think we have Sir at the back, and then Dr. Palaganas will be the next one.
Good morning po. Franco Teles from MSU IIT. I have a question for Dr. De La Paz. Ma'am, thank you very much for sharing with us your experiences at UP Manila. I have two questions that I would like to raise. One is regarding the bridging fund that you mentioned. I suppose that this is similar to the mobilization fund that is also given by funding agencies. But my question is, even if the money is there, is already available, but the procurement of materials and equipment still passes through the usual procurement system. Still, we have problem. We have a problem with the keeping up with efficiency in in implementing the project. And seems like we have been trapped in this system for 15 years since the implementation of this law, the procurement system law in our country. Every year we have been talking about this problem, and seems like there is no solution at hand. I don't know. We accepted the fact that we just have to live with this kind of problem because we have identified this as a bottleneck in the process. And when we want to be efficient in the entire research process, this plays a very important role. It's not, and also it's not always the most, I mean, the cheapest materials and equipment that is the most cost efficient. If the equipment breaks down in less than a year, for example, this is another problem that we are facing as researchers. The second question is regarding the overhead cost or admin cost. Um, how does UP Manila take this? I mean, does this require a board resolution or a special order regarding how this is going to be utilized? Because we do have a problem in the way that we utilize the overhead cost or the admin cost. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Dr. Teves, for your question. Let me answer the first one, the second one first. Yes, there is a Board of Regents resolution regarding the use of the administrative overhead costs, but it's the constituent university who decides as far as UP is concerned, because we're made up of many universities, the division of how that administrative overhead costs will be divided among the, like let's say the UP Manila, the Research Grants Administrative Office, PGH, if the project is implemented in PGH, or if it's at the NIH, there's a certain percent for it, or any of the other colleges. So, sir, that's predetermined. There's a research unit fund that gets used by the implementing unit to use for emergencies, or you didn't plan for it, but it's something that came up in the process of your research project, and that's something that you have to ask permission from the chancellor. So that's the answer to the administrative overhead cost. Regarding your first question, we, for the procurement, UP Manila actually developed an organic pack, and that's for the bids awards committee. And that office centralizes procurement process. So it was established about 2 years ago now, and so it has some birthing pains, but it's now being recognized as something that has improved the process. But one of the things I think, sir, is really the orientation. And now we allow our staff to take advantage of government seminars that they give for procurement processes. And then we reiterate that during our orientation of project leaders and their staff regarding the procurement process. It's really very challenging, but I think proper education, orientation, training on how to do big value procurement, small value procurement can really hasten the process, sir, para hindi pabalik-balik yung proseso. The organic back office allows the project leaders to have someone to run to who knows everything about the procurement process, so they are ready access for information. Regarding the government procurement, parang hindi ko yata po masasagot yun. Si Chancellor Padilla po gusto kong sagutin.
The problem with us from government institutions, we're locked with policies and guidelines that we cannot even implement. Okay, so that's one. But the organic pact, let me explain to you the organic pact. The organic pact is a committee that looks at the papers before the bidding starts, yung committee, and after. Kasi ang problema natin, lahat ng papeles pupunta sa Bids and Awards Committee, pero kulang-kulang ang papeles. O di siyempre pabalik-balik yan. Siyempre nagagalit yung end user. So the organic path, I think now has about, maliit lang na committee ito, no? It's a very small committee, but what we changed is that whereas before, the secretariat is a part-time person from another unit, this time they're part of an office at ang trabaho lang nila, tingnan yung papeles bago pumunta sa Bids and Awards, and then when it's completed, they take over until the contract is awarded. Because of this change in policy, we've been able to turn around big projects, and nakaka-one round kami mas sa infra projects. So we did not change the rules. What we did was our internal policy. One more thing that we did was that, I know, matipid tayo sa SBAC, sa BAC. In our case, we have 3 BACs, regular BACs, and every time there is a big project, it has to be a special BAC. Para hindi siya sumasabay doon sa regular schedule ng mga regular BAC. So at one time, minsan 5 BACs kami. As a public project yan. So I guess, since we cannot change government policy, we have to come up with some internal policies. Follow the rules, but change the system inside. I can tell you that this organic path, together with ICAO, has changed the environment of research in UP Manila. I will be more than happy to share with you how it has worked. And we're sharing this information because we want government institutions to continue following government rules and still be able to make the researchers happy. Mahirap po talaga maging researcher sa government institution kasi masyado tayo maraming bottlenecks, especially COA. I want to reiterate the orientation that Dr. Eva mentioned. Requirements sa ARCAO na pag may bago ng grant, i-orient ka ng ARCAO. Ang isang nakita namin bottleneck, papadala RA. So my instructions now to Dr. Eva is that the PI must attend and sign that they listen to the guidelines. So I think, ARCAO, both ARCAO and OOBAC, we call it OOBAC, it's organic path, has helped improve the environment of research in the university. And we'll be more than happy to share this with anybody who wants to see how we did it. It's within the rules of government. Wala kayong problema at hindi kayo makukuha.
Can I share, as the private sector representative in PCHRD, I have seen that over the last so many years, the issue of procurement, but it is not a problem unique to government or even to UP. Even our older brethren in Manila, that was our universities, have been having problems as it got bigger and more complex. Their procurement became more complex. And I told them that the PCHRD and ITDOSD now requires that what is released this year must be consumed by the end of the calendar year, which puts more pressure on us to be more efficient. So how did we do it for this recent project we got? Our project was approved May. So imagine we had less than 7-8 months to finish what was going to be released. But we partnered with PCHRD and they had a great way of dispersing the funds so that we would not be too pressured. But I would echo the words of Chancellor Menchit that kung alam nyo na ang problema sa bureaucracy, I'm giving this as a unsolicited advice. Alam niyo na yung bottlenecks. Just to give you an example, in the coach project, we were going to buy a huge equipment, the midget project from Beckton Dickinson. We did it in 2 weeks. Turnaround time in 2 weeks. Kasi we made so many preparations before the project was even approved. We already talked to the supplier, 4 suppliers. We knew what our procurement office required. We gave them advance warning. So we did all the procedures and very cooperative naman yung supplier and said that as soon as you got the contract and the funds are assured, then we will fast track. So they were able to deliver it sa PL and then all these other customs. In 2 weeks, we were able to turn around purchase the equipment. That's a miracle in many of our institutions, but that was the fastest example that I can cite. So I know the procurement law and the COFA is always a major challenge. But if you know the problem, you work not around it, but creatively to release and fast track the process. Especially ang ano nyo, ang pwede nyo sword we will return the money. If you don't, that's what I told the administration of the other university. If you don't make this more efficient, I told the brother president, then the money will return. And that hastened the process of procurement.
Actually, we have President Dr. Palabanas Waligo. But sir, if your question is related to procurement in back, sir?
I'm Dr. Andres Singh again, the River Sky State University President. I am addressing the question to our to Dr. Eva Maria Chonco de la Paz. May I know, ma'am, on international presentation, how much in terms of logistics, the airfare that you are giving to the research presenter in the Philippines? And second, how much is the daily allowances you're also giving to international presenter? Third, on the publication for research in ISI Scopus journals, how much you are also allocating for this book? So, because in our university, the COA is actually depression because they are stick to 60,000 airfare. So allowance is no longer being given to the presenter in the international presentation. So bahala na yung presenter sa accommodation, sa hotel, everything. So it is actually discounting. So may I know your the process on how you are actually giving ample quality assistance to your researchers. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, napakahirap po ng tanong nyo. Pero ang masasabi ko po, syempre iba po pag Asian, iba pag US, Europe. Yes. But then, so there is the airfare is about, sir, masasabi ko, hindi mo napupunan ng buo yung pangangailangan ng researcher to be able to make a presentation. But the amount is substantial enough. So this research dissemination grant allows us to give them $300 for accommodations, about $1,000 for $1,000 to $1,200 for airfare. Pero sir, we can be creative about it. Baka magpahama ko si Dr. Jimmy Montoya. Pero pagka project niyo po ay funded ng PCHRT, nakakapagbigay po sila ng travel grant. Sir, okay lang sir, no? Sabihin ko yun. Opo, isa. Opo. Pero at least po, malaking tulong na po yun that you are, if you put in your line item budget, travel for a conference where you will make a presentation of your research results, then they will fund it. Second po is we also give some, so malaking bagay na po yun. Yung sa publication award, we give about $500. So, kung tatanungin niyo po ako, meron talaga pong pagkakataon na meron pong naghahanap kami ng counterpart para pumapunan yung kulang. If we compute, kung kasya naman po, we use the UNDP rates for the accommodation and when we try to compute the budget, we use UNDP rates for daily allowance. When I talk about counterpart funds, meron po kami mga natatap na resources. So kung hindi na po kaya ng UP Manila, meron po kami kung tawagin Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, where we can also tap some counterpart fund. So para po mapunan yung pagkukulang na ibibigay namin grant.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Because actually, COA is only lipstick for 16,000. And that is actually usually practiced in other agencies.
Okay, thank you so much. Can we have Dr. Palaganas, please?
Good morning. Thank you very much for all your presentation. Any one of you or all of you can answer my questions. First, I'd like to mention that when it comes to looking at nurturing environment, I think para lang mabigyan din ng how do you call this? Recognition where recognition is due. I think that PCHRD, through the consortia, the various consortia all over the country, would have really done a good job for nurturing environment for research in the various regions of the country. So if there are any universities or any non-government organizations or any agency who has not yet joined the consortia in the region, I think it is something that has to be done. And I think in the future, in our next PNHRS week, I would like to suggest that a session like this for the various consortia or for because the consortia naman are various stages. Merong mas abante, merong hindi masyadong abante, at meron din naglalag behind. So I think one of the things that we can do is to really learn from each other. And I think that has not been maximized yet. So maybe we can do that. The second thing that I'd like to look at is, I'm sorry if I was, sometimes I have lapses, I have attention. But I'm not sure if I did not just hear it, but I was looking for one of the strategies for a nurturing environment in any organization is a mentor-mentee relationship. I'm not sure if I did not hear any of those, but I'd like to hear how mentoring in research is done both in our respective organizations, because I think that's a very crucial strategy for a nurturing environment. The third and last concern that I have is, well, I'm both a qualitative and quantitative research, but it breaks my heart when every time we mention research, it seems to be always focusing on quantitative research. And as a qualitative research, I'm always one who would say, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that is counted counts. So I just don't know also how you include qualitative research for the social scientists and not even the quantitative researchers now in biodiversity and some other fields does qualitative research. So I think that should also be included, not quantitatively mixed methods. And I see that now as one of the weaknesses of the researchers when it comes to research designs. So I just wish also that in the various mentoring programs that we have in the university, in the consortium, that qualitative research also be given equal importance with quantitative research. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start with Dr. Hughes.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for your questions. Can I address the second one, which is about mentoring? So, as we mentioned, we have the RTC program on proposal development, as well as manuscript writing. A key component of that training is really mentoring. Actually, ang didactics po nun is only about 1 full day of a 5-day training. Kasi half of the day or even full days are just devoted to mentoring actual writing. Kasi manuscript writing, protocol writing, they're experiential. You can learn so much from the slides and the PowerPoints, but it's really, the mentoring and the experience of writing itself that will help you.
I think it was mentioned there already because the public society was not exactly focused. In our own institute, we have mentoring, for example, for those writing papers for the trainees. And the head of that is actually developing an online system of tracking. So that it's not just a one-time deal when you do it at the start and expect an output at the end of the year. So there's a system of tracking where we see and mentor them through the process of their ideas, through the time that they finalize the writing of the paper. But I also agree with what has been mentioned. Have been brainwashed by Professor Nina Carandang in UP of the importance of social science. And in the proposal, for example, for Inocente, that innovative center, we are actually drawing our strength from another university in Asma, where we want the social scientists to be, because the problem of TB has not been solved by our biomedical model and by the doctors. It will all be solved by the cross-cultural marriage of engineers, data analysts, social scientists, and community workers. That's the only way this TB problem will.
Ma'am, there are formal mentoring programs in our different colleges, and for research mentoring, especially for our MD PhD program, we have some of our faculty in the audience who do mentoring for our students who are doing research according to their uh, graduate or undergraduate program track. What we are developing right now are interdisciplinary programs for different colleges so that the social science aspect is also taken care of. We do have a number of social scientists in the university, and I must say that I think I can confidently say that they're not really not given importance. They are very much thriving within the university.
Okay, thank you so much. That's for the comment on mentoring and the balance between qualitative and quantitative research. So we'll just be having two more questions. I think we have ma'am from Pitak and sir at the back, so you can start, ma'am, with your question.
This is for Dr. Carlos of the as Vice Chancellor of Research and Plan, you deal only with medical, but not legal research, only medical. The rationale of my question is this, no? My son, graduate of Lasan Law, he obtained a most outstanding research or thesis. He made a thesis that could decrease traffic congestion in Metro Manila. Nag-outstanding na nga yan eh. But, nasa cabinet pa rin. So, can we, through the help of your office, through the help of your office, can we approach a congressman or a senator that could make a law that will decrease traffic congestion in Metro Manila? And we will make the basis of that research of my son to also pass the bar in 2017.
Well, in two ways I can help. Let's talk after this. I have very good relations with the Chancellor of De La Salle Manila, the College of Law, right?
Yes.
And my niece actually is a fresh bar pastor there. So that we can forward that to there. They have a very strong research division there. The other one is if it's a policy thing, then I can also talk to Emma and maybe that can connect. It depends on the proposal.
Yes.
But let's just communicate because, as I said, we welcome interdisciplinary researchers. I think this is something that is the next generation. We need to cross our discipline, and if there's a fresh idea out there, we should not shoot it down and have to do it.
Traffic congestion is also related to health. It causes emotional, psychological,
Agree.
di ba? Ang dami nagagalit pag sa mga
I'll give you a calling card.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. So we will have now, we apologize, but we're just going to recognize the last doctor standing at the back to give his question.
magandang tanghali po. Ito po ang salita ng Tagalog. Ako po ay taga Isabela. At narito ako ngayon sa PMA. Pagkat meron ng anak, ang Colonel Espino. Kaya po, ako'y natutuwa na maging bahagi din dito sa research sa PSRN. At hindi po ako magtatanong. Kundi ako'y nagpapasalamat sa gawain na inyong ginagawa. Ako po hindi delikado, pero napasingit na ako dito. Kasamayan, ako po ay minister ng 12th Adventist. At ako'y natutuwa na gawain ito ng pagpapaunlad ng ating bayan ay inyong ginagawa. Sa tatlong araw na ating pakikinig sa inyong magandang adhikain, mga research, ay tunay na kailangan ng ating bansa. Nagpapasalamat ako sa ating presidente na siyang may lakas ng loob na lumaban sa drugs, sa corruption,
Open for all.
pagpapasulong ng ating bansa. Ako po ay 77 years old na at medyo malakas pa rin. Pwede ba rin umakyat sa dalawang bundok?
Maraming salamat din po at naging bahagi po yung ng aming programa.
Okay.
Due to time, we apologize, but we can approach our speakers later on. So we will not be having. Okay.
So I'm getting from College of Public Health in Manila, and I'm really proud to say that I'm also a part of the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics of the college. So from the first question presented, and also also told about the department also. I can share with you to all the researchers and doctors or all the participants here that the department actually offers a small fee for consultations from the department, from the practical of the graduate students of the department. So I'm really proud to say that also that young researchers like the graduate students of UP Manila are willing to help other practitioners in the health field for developing their researchers. And if I may also, can I have one question from all the finalists? Sir and ma'am, research actually in this discussion is more incentivized in the more professional part. How could you promote research in the student level, Sana? Kasi incentivization is as discussed, is only for the professionals, as discussed a while ago. So how can you incentivize? How about the students who are willing to pay their time in developing researches in their field? So yun na po. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for your question. We do also have student grants, student research grants. So it's a competitive grant. We've been giving it out. It's about 2 million a year. It's offered to all colleges of the University of the Philippines, Manila. So it's between mga 40,000 to 50,000 competitive grant given to students, undergrad, including undergrad, as well as those who are doing their masters and PhD.
In November, we usually celebrate our research month, and we usually have competitions across our colleges as well as categories, professional, consultants, students, trainees. We also have mentoring programs. Just a couple of days ago, I was approached to mentor for evidence-based medicine rounds, which I think is a starting point for them to go into research. So I agree that we should start it young and they should be encouraged. And it should not be at the level of the professionals. It should start at the very young. I loved to go in research when I was already a student. and I was encouraged to do. That should be where we should be looking for the young blood. I agree. It's too late when they're already far in their career. They want to go to clinical practice for many of the doctors. It should be started young.
So if I may share, we are not an academic institution. We are a research institution, so we don't have students. But what I can share is that it's always leading by example. That's why I have high regard for professors who are not just teachers, but are also researchers at the same time. Because this is where the students were every day. So it's really important to have researcher professors who can share their experiences to the students. So, they can guide them through the different steps of the research process, so that they can also become one of the researchers in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. So, just to give a summary of what was discussed by our experts here, starting with minimizing bureaucracy, maximizing research efficiency. Where we're talking about funds and facilities, it was pointed out the two most important functions, the facilitative functions from grant application, approval to awarding, and the second one is ensuring integrity of research conduct. And how this is being done, we have infrastructures are put in place like grant administration, fund administration, research implementation, collaboration with support departments, wherein we have units responsible for awards, publication, and motivation, and a web-based submission to facilitate the research and collaboration with research ethics. It was also being pointed out regarding the organic back, the importance of having or changing the system but not the policy. And the second speaker actually pointed out important things focusing on rewards and incentives, particularly relationships of people, relationship of people and our incentives. So with this, we have the financial incentives, rewards, support, the public recognition, protective time to allow engagement in research process, the power of travel for us to be exposed, career path to ensure direction for researchers, talent retention policies, through modeling, allowing independence, but also this is nurturing. Proper infrastructure, a building where researchers can work with proper technology because we know for a fact that we cannot do research with an empty packet. And of course, with our last speaker, focusing now on human resources as the greatest assets, not only human resources, but also the capability of the institution, what are the tools, what are within this institution being a prime institution for testing, mentioning about research manpower are available, collaborative study groups, presence of IRP, institutional research policies, building measures are in place, and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of challenges actually that we are going to face, and we have this very good, very important topic to end now our 12th PNHRS week celebration. So there are some important things pointed out, like for example, we have to do some local international collaboration and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, we would like to highlight to promote research nurturing environment. Thank you so much to our experts for sharing your time with us and for giving us important points regarding research, productivity, sustainability, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much. So at this point in time, we're going to award our certificates to our experts. So we would like to call our PCHR Executive Director, very supportive, Dr. Jaime Montoya, our CRHRDC Director, Maria Rowena Madarang, and our Regional Director, DOST Regional Director, Dr. Nancy Bantuk, and of course, our UP Baguio Chancellor, Dr. Raymond Rubilios, to award the certificates to our experts. First, certificates of recognition to be awarded to our first speaker. We have Dr. Eva Maria Cotienco de la Paz. To our second speaker, we have Dr. Charles Yu. And of course, to our last speaker, we have Dr. Mario Antonio Hughes II. Muli po, maraming salamat. Ako po si Jimmy Catanes mula sa Commission on Higher Education. Kasama ko po ang session manager, si Ma'am Elizabeth Cahias and Ma'am Kathleen Tumlos. We would like to have a reminder here to all participants for the oral student and professional category to please claim your certificates as finalists at the registration center, at the registration area. Thank you so much po at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Jimmy. That ends our episode 2 of the 12th PNHRS Tungtongan. Thank you for joining us all for this year's 12th PNHRS Week. Your active participation in the discussions and workshops is indeed a reflection of your commitment and desire to realize the vision where research and innovation are key drivers of health equity. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, before anything else, look around you. The food that we savor, the lights that illuminates in our dark room. This building that can accommodate more than 1,000 people. Look how they were perfectly made for us. These are just some of the products of collaborative efforts and intensive research. Just like this morning, we would like to recognize our stakeholders who have exerted efforts in health research and to make their health research plans successful. With that, may we call again Dr. Jaime Montoya, Dr. Raimundo Robilius, and of course Dr. Carmencita Padilla for the awarding ceremony. At this juncture, our first award is in line with the FREB accreditation. We will be giving FREB accreditation certificates to research ethics committees. This is in line with its efforts to ensure adherence to the universal principles for the protection of human participants in research. The Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, which is the national policy-making body of health research ethics in the Philippines, has established mechanisms for oversight and proper recognition of research ethics committees in the country. These mechanisms include the accreditation of RECs. The FREB accreditation enables RECs to conduct quality, scientific, and ethical review of research protocols, ensuring the safety and protection of the rights and welfare of human participants in research. We would like also to call Dr. Leonardo de Castro, the chairperson of the Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, and Dr. Maria Villos, the chairperson of the FREB Committee on Standards and Accreditation, to help award the FREB certificates of accreditation. At this point, our first award, or the first certification, will be for Level 3 Research Ethics Committees. And let me just read to you the citation. The Philippine National Health Research System, the Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, awards this certificate of accreditation to the name of Research Ethics Committee, which has fulfilled all the FREB requirements as the level of accreditation Research Ethics Committee. Given this 9th day of August 2018 at Camp John Hay, Baguio City, Philippines, signed by Dr. Maria Rios, the chairperson of the PREP Committee on Standards and Accreditation, Dr. Leonardo De Castro, the chairperson of the Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, and of course, Dr. Jaime Montoya, the executive director of Philippine Council for Health Research and Development. The first accreditation, level 3, goes to Bicol Regional Training and Teaching Hospital Institutional Review Board. Please get ready, the chairpersons of the Research Ethics Committees, as we call your RAC's name, please come on stage and accept your certificate of accreditation. Next, Davao Doctors Hospital Research Ethics Committee. Next, Manila Med Ethics Review Committee. Next, Metro Davao Medical and Research Center Incorporated. Next, Peregrine Eye and Laser Institute Institutional Review Board. Congratulations also to Research Institute for Tropical Medicine Institutional Review Board. Next is San Lazaro Hospital Research Ethics Review Unit. Research Institute for Tropical Medicine. Up next is San Lazaro Hospital Research Ethics Review Unit. San Lazaro Hospital Research Ethics Review Unit.
Pwede bang i-stop? Yan, tinap ko.
Congratulations, San Pedro Hospital Institutional Review Board. Up next is University of the East Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Medical Center Incorporated, Research Institute for Health, Institutional Ethics Review Board.
Sige, sir. Copy ko na lang maya. Balik ay yung umaga na lang tsaka hapon. Tsaka yung last percent. Umaga lang mamaya. Ay, copy lang. Ako ano na lang yung meron.
Congratulations, University of Perpetual Health System, Delta, Institutional Ethics Review Board.
Ayun. Iba din. Nauna yung...
Ano may ibig sabihin yan?
Those are our level 3 research ethics committees. Congratulations. Next is level 2 research ethics committees. Again, as I call your name or the name of your institution or the REC name, please, the chairperson of that REC, please come on stage to receive your certificate. Level 2 Research Ethics Committee certificate is awarded to Ateneo de Manila University Research Ethics Committee. Next, University of Immaculate Conception Research Ethics Committee. Next, University of the Visayas Institutional Review Board.
Hindi ko go lang. Huwag mo muna i-post. Huwag lang. Ay, wala pa. Ay.
Next is Veles College Ethics Review Committee. Next is Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center Research Ethics Committee.
Ay, wala na yan. Wala. Sige na. Vicente Soto na. Sige po. Paano? Pwede ko ba ay. Sige, okay na.
Congratulations, Western Mindanao State University Research Ethics Oversight Committee. Those are the level 2 research ethics committees board. Next is Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology University Research Ethics Committee.
Tanong mo nga kayo sa rin, pwede magpakapit tayo ng presentation sa
Next is Region 1 Health Research and Development Consortium Ethics Review Committee. And finally, Tarlac State University Research Ethics Review Committee.
I-play mo na lang. Tapos matapos na rin.
Nagtanong po ako ng copy nung kay Dr. Bakit pinagtanong?
Wala akong copy nun. Kasi laptop nila yung Charles.
Yung kay Dr. Bakit kay Jeffrey.
Ayan, congratulations again to our Research Ethics Committees. Our next award is Best Consortium Website. Again, please remain on stage, Dr. Jaime Montoya, Dr. Rubilius, and Dr. Padilla. For Best Consortium Website, recognizing the important role of the Regional Health Research and Development Consortium in disseminating and communicating health research results, activities, and health research programs in the regions, the PCHRD, as part of the Philippine National Health Research System, is giving the Best Consortium Website Award using a new set of criteria to gauge the usefulness of the consortium's website in reaching a wider community of users. All the consortium websites were evaluated by online content and creative experts based on content, timeliness, and creativity and innovation. First, the special award goes to the Region 1 Health Research and Development Consortium. The R1 HRDC scored 80% from the combined evaluation from the judges. They will be receiving 5,000 pesos. And now, the consortium who will receive the Best Consortium Website Award is Cordillera Regional Health Research and Development Consortium. They will be receiving 30,000 pesos. Congratulations again to CRHRDC and the R1HRDC. Our next award is related to the Oral Research Presentation Student category. Let's start professional category. Start. Student muna. Third place goes to, congratulations to Krisha Lane Yu from Ateneo de Zamboanga University. Her work is related to or entitled Synergistic Quantitative Property of Allium sativum, clove and cinnabar officinale rhizome extracts on Aspergillus flavus. She will be receiving 10,000 pesos. To all the winners, you may claim your cash prize at the secretariat table beside the stage, on the left wing. Second place, congratulations to Faye Marion Sebastian from Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology. Her work is modified starch from rice bran as adsorbent of heavy metals in aqueous solution. She will be receiving 12,000 pesos. At our first place, we say congratulations to Denise Lavirus of University of San Carlos. Her work is growth inhibition and relative shortening of telomere length by monociliary triple lipid extracts from Pseudozyma aphilis. Bucan on SAOS2 human osteosarcoma cell. She will be receiving 15,000 pesos. So those are our awardees under the student category. Our next award is on professional category. Third place, Dr. Charlie Labanta, University of the Philippines School of Health Sciences. His work is titled Analysis of the Health Status of ST high-end affected communities in the island of Leyte. He will be receiving 10,000 pesos. Second place, congratulations to Annalie Bandoy, University of Immaculate Conception. Her work is antibiotic resistance profile of gram-negative bacilli isolated from selected ants in selected level 1 hospitals in Davao City. She will be receiving 15,000 pesos. At our first place, congratulations to Supachai Basit, Dr. Supachai Basit from Emilio Aguinaldo College of Cavite. Her work is phenotypic characterizations of Aguinaldo phage library isolated from Las Marinas Cavite Creek using multi-drug resistant bacteria host cells, implications of phage therapy. She will be receiving 20,000 pesos. We're down to the poster exhibit contest student category. Third place, they will be receiving 5,000 pesos. Third place, congratulations to Joyce Marie Himayo from Region 2, St. Mary's University. antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-tumor properties of Mani. And our second place, Okuma Obatawe from Region 1. The second place will be receiving 7,000 pesos. And our first place, congratulations to Darwin Japhet Eusebio from the La Salle Health Sciences Institute, Region 4A. You will be receiving 10,000 pesos. We're now to the poster exhibit contest professional category. Third place, congratulations to May Maricel Marquillero Villalba from Region 6. Second place, congratulations to Roy Hector Casim from Occidental Mindoro State College. The study of the second placer is all about I Am Hero, the heterogeneous emergency response operation, creating a resilient academic community. And the third placer, effectiveness of prophylactic prenatal administration of vaginal progesterone in the prevention of preterm birth among high-risk women, seen at the outpatient department of a tertiary government hospital, a randomized controlled trial. And for the first place, congratulations to Holden Kirby Valdez from Region 1. Her study is antithrombogenic activity of formulated papaya and guava, capsule on spray dolly. Next is Consortium Poster Exhibit Contest. Third place, congratulations to Cordillera Regional Health Research and Development Consortium. Second place, Bicol Consortium for Health Research and Development. First place, Eastern Visayas Health Research and Development Consortium.
Na-award na. Na-award na yan.
Next, we're now to the Consortium Good Practices on Capacity Building Poster Exhibit Contest. The PNHRS Capacity Building Committee organized a poster exhibit contest to recognize the good practices on capacity building initiatives, strategies, projects of the Regional Health Research and Development Consortium. May we request the consortium representatives to come up on stage as we announce our winners. Third place, congratulations to Eastern Visayas Health Research and Development Consortium. The chairperson of their capacity building committee is Dr. Vilhildos Sabalo. May we call on stage their CBC members, Dr. Ramil Perez and Regional Coordinator Dr. Lucia Daos to receive the 10,000 cash prize and certificate. Second place is, congratulations to Bicol Consortium for Health Research and Development. The chairperson of their capacity building committee is Dr. Marilu Tino. May we call on stage their CBC members, Ms. Marilyn Rivera, and Regional Coordinator, Ms. Rina Dianerceras, to receive the 12,000 cash prize and certificate. And the first place, congratulations to Regional Health Research and Development Consortium 11. May we call the chairperson of the Capacity Building Committee, Dr. Divina Ortiz, and Regional Project Staff, Ms. Porticos, and Regional Project Staff, Ms. Rachel May Royeras, to receive the 15,000 cash prize and certificate. Again, maraming salamat po. Palakpakan po ulit natin ang ating mga winners. Congratulations. Thank you also, Dr. Montoya, Dr. Padilla, and of course, Dr. Rodriguez. You may now take your seats. The 12th PNHRS Week will not be made possible without the support of the Cordillera Regional Health Research Development Consortium members. And to give us the highlights of the 12th PNHRS, let's all watch this, courtesy of the Project Red Northern Luzon base.
Dito na lang sa akin. Maski
The 12th PNHRS is brought to you by the Cordillera Regional Health Research Development Consortium. We would like also to acknowledge the working committees who made this event possible or successful, of course. The chairperson of the PCHRD, Dr. Jaime Montoya, a round of applause to them. Dr. Raimundo Robilius of the UP Baguio. The head of the program committee, Ms. Berlita Opeña from PCHRD. Dr. Fidelia Reyes of SNU. Our session managers, thank you very much. And our invitation committee headed by Ms. Joanna America of the PCHRD. And Ms. Rufina Abul from SNU. Registration and Kit Preparation Committee, thank you very much. Ms. Marie Antoinette Sumagi from PCHRD. And of course, Ms. Judith Magwilang from University of the Cordilleras. From Publicity Committee, Ms. Lady Love Borile from PCHRD. And Ms. Sheila Marie Singa Claver from USD CAR. Exhibits Committee, again, thank you very much, Ms. Lady Love Borile from PCHRD. And of course, from Mr. Patrick John Santiago from UC. Reception and Ushering Committee, thank you very much, Ms. Wilma Santos. And of course, Ms. Marian Sanchez. From Poster Research and Competition Committee, thank you very much, Ms. Magdalena Manai from PCHRD. And of course, Dr. Erlinda Palaganas from UP Baguio. For Oral Research Presentation Committee, Ms. Paula Jane De Leon. Dr. Ruth Matani from PSU. Tokens and Kids Committee, Ms. Mylene Marco and Ms. Jocelyn Angeles. Documentation Committee, Ms. Ana Siareng Ituli from PCHRD, and from Ms. Sheila Marie Clavel from USC CAR. Physical Arrangement, Mr. Neil Jerome Lavape and Dr. Nicolas Cordo Jr. Technical Support Committee, Mr. Renate Bahala and Ms. Hansi Dinumla. Food Committee, Ms. Michelle Atienza and Dr. Pilin Benino. Venue Committee, Ms. Michelle Atienza, thank you very much. Fellowship Night and Welcome Dinner Committee, Ms. Gudita Guilera and Mr. Randy Occidental. Travel and Accommodation Committee, Ms. Eliza Manalo and Engineer Nathaniel Vincent Lubrica. Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Edgar Ortiz and Ms. Maria Rowena Madara. Thank you very much. And Evaluation Committee, Ms. Christine Dominic Zamora and Ms. Lilia Rose Sayawen. And last but not least, Medical Assistance and Emergency Response. Thank you very much to our on-call 911 and Mr. Clark Dizon. And to all the members of the committees, thank you very much. A round of applause to all of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the highlight of the 12th PNHRS week-long celebration.
You are not here for no reason. We hope you will find your reason. You will find your purpose. Welcome everyone and be inspired. Thank you.
Working in the island in this area, sometimes you will find yourself burned out. Parang wala namang nangyayari, ang dami mo nang ginawa, and it's very important na sa moments na yun, you will find inspirations who will inspire you again, who will make you believe again that yes, dreams will come true.
So open your eyes, look in the car, take the time, dream into the Our dreams on the horizon, our fears leave on behind us now. No time to start it. The fire is calling. Risk it all, you learn to feel alive. Searching for new life. Reaching for new heights. Into the daylight. So open your eyes, you make me cry.